Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Narcissism Decoder. I'm Dr. Anthony Mazzella. On this channel, we explore the hidden, unconscious emotional dynamics underneath narcissism, not just the behaviors, but the inner wounds, defenses, adaptations, and possibilities for transformation. In an earlier video, we explored what happens when the narcissistic fantasy of being exceptional begins to fall apart. That moment when the inner scaffolding that once held everything up suddenly gives way. In this video, we're going to take it one step further. After the illusion of being special, untouchable, or destined for greatness dissolves, something else begins to emerge, often quietly but painfully. It's the more vulnerable self, the ordinary self. And for many, this can feel worse than the collapse itself because now you're in an unfamiliar territory, stripped of the identity that once made you feel safe, admired, or in control. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a place where your old way of coping, your drive to be the best, to always be right, or to be needed, stand out, for instance, it just stopped working? Typically, what follows is not clarity, but confusion. Like, who am I now? And what do I hold on to? What is going to make me feel special or unique? Or how do I even begin to heal from here? If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. I want to walk you through what that process of losing or giving up the narcissistic position, like the superiority, the grandiosity, can look like from a psychodynamic perspective. Let's get right into it. The work, or I should say the healing, becomes about metabolizing the loss. But wait, you may be asking, what does metabolizing a loss even look like? Let me give you a prototypical example, like a composite case to demonstrate this. A father I work with came into session feeling low, describing himself as a failure. He told me about a wedding he just attended, saying, and I quote, "I didn't fit in. My old friends were all drinking and having a good time, and I just felt like outside of it." It seemed like another moment that we had been working on where shame or exclusion begins to emerge until he mentioned, almost in passing, that his kids, pulled him onto the dance floor. It was an offhand comment, not the point of the story, but something had shifted, I noticed, and I pulled this to his attention. He had chosen presence over performance without even realizing it. This is precisely where something subtle but powerful often happens. In that moment, he was caught between two powerful internal pulls. One, wanting to be the good enough dad, attentive, emotionally present, and two, wanting to perform, looking cool in front of his friends, admired, being the life of the party. That tension between presence and performance is exactly the internal conflict we want to surface. On the one hand, we could hear authenticity and relatedness. That's being with the children, emotionally engaged and present. And on the other hand, we hear the pull towards grandiosity and defensiveness, maintaining that superior image, the curated facade that he knows very well. And the fact that he chose presence over performance, even momentarily, is a sign that something important is shifting. Now, you might be asking, why is inner conflict a good thing? Isn't that a sign that things are getting worse? Actually, not always. In psychodynamic therapy, when working with a personality disorder, conflict typically means progress. Because when someone becomes aware of their ambivalence, of their conflicted feelings about closeness and vulnerability, it means they are developing psychic complexity. The goal here isn't just symptom relief. The deeper aim is to grow your capacity to hold ambivalence without collapsing, to tolerate feeling pulled in different directions without resorting to quick solutions, such as drinking with his buddies. In order to deepen the internal conflict and promote reflection, I might ask him, I wonder what it felt like to be pulled onto the dance floor by your kids, especially while you were also feeling like you didn't belong with your friends. Or if I decide to take more of an ego supportive approach and aim for integration of these conflicted feelings, I might comment, noticing that you chose to be with your kids, even without realizing it, might say something important about where you are now. How did you do with that? Like, how did you do with that choice to dance with your kids? What was your experience when dancing with them? Or how did you feel to realize you were more present with your kids? I would ask that as a follow-up question if it seemed to be moving in that direction. These are the questions that might help integrate the experience so that the patient begins to form a more cohesive internal narrative, one where he isn't either the grandiose star of the party or a pathetic failure or a loser because he's not hanging out with his buddies. In other words, this is part of the mourning process. Mourning isn't just about crying, it's about a collapse of the grandiose sense of self, but also at the same time, learning to live with a more ordinary, connected self. This is the slow work of healing narcissism. And in the end, that's what we're really aiming for in this kind of psychodynamic treatment approach. Not to destroy the hope of greatness, but to replace the idealized image of self and others with the richness of genuine emotional life. But don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean it's all smooth sailing from here. There's no doubt he'll slip back to the grandiose sense of self. So if if you personally, or if you're with somebody like this, don't get discouraged at these moments. This is an important part of the whole process of relinquishing the narcissistic position, relinquishing the psychic retreat, the omnipotence. So at this point, he needs help in tolerating this unfamiliar experience. That's why I mentioned earlier an ego supportive approach. The work now is on integration and helping him function in an uncertain but more authentic reality. Look, there's still so much more to say about this next step. Like, how do we help someone build a self that can live without relying on the patch of grandiosity? But we have to stop here for now. If this spoke to you and you're curious about healing narcissism and what it really looks like, please consider subscribing to this channel so you don't miss what's coming next. For a deeper dive into narcissistic dynamics and healing, check out my podcast, link below. Thanks for being here with me. I'm grateful we got to explore this together. Until next time, take care of yourself. Bye for now.